Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Viviana with today's reading lesson. Now, this is the Connect to the Topic lesson. So if you remember on Monday, you listened to Someone Bigger. We talked about that being a fiction story because there was a man flying through the air. And remember, that kite took up a bunch of different people. Can't happen in real life. Then yesterday, we read our big book, one of three. Now this was a realistic fiction story. So it was made up, but it could really happen in real life. And today we're going to read an informational text. But before I read that, did any of you guys make a connection between these two books? They're about families, yeah, the dad and Sam and then the three sisters. These guys were doing a little family outing at the park, flying a kite, and these girls were kind of out and about in the town. Yeah, well, this story that I'm going to read is in the back of our big book. It's an informational text. It's called Cross Country Trip. Now, this is kind of an article. There's no author or illustrator. So a cross-country trip means that they go across a country. Now this country is the United States. You guys will remember that a couple weeks ago, I think that you guys did the map, me on the map lesson, and learned that the United States was the country we live in. So here's the family that must be going, look at this long trip. Let's read to find out what information we can learn. We have to drive across the country to visit Granny in Oregon. What a fun trip. We will send her postcards of places we see. All right, so they must be starting over here because I know that Oregon is all the way over there. Do you guys know what a postcard is? Well, a postcard looks something like this. There's a picture on the front, and on the back you write a little message, and then you have to put their address on it. So this is the Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building, and it says, from New York City. Dear Granny, we just got to New York City. The Empire State Building is really tall. Tomorrow we take a boat to the Statue of Liberty. Love, Katie. And it's going to Mrs. Eloise Higgins, 21 Elm Street, Portland, Oregon, 97201. That's the zip code. So this is all going to Granny. So this is Granny's name and her address. So that's the same on all of these, or both of these. This is a postcard from Washington, D.C. Do you guys know what's in Washington, D.C.? The White House and the Washington Monument. Dear Granny, today we are in Washington, D.C. We are going to see where the president lives. Then we will go see the Washington Monument. Love, Katie. Now, where does the president of the United States live? That's right, the White House. That's right there. The picture on the front of the postcard matches the note that Katie is writing to her granny. This is from Atlanta, Georgia. This is the Centennial Olympic Park. It's got lots of fountains there. Dear Granny, we got to Atlanta this morning. We are going to spend the day in the Centennial Olympic Park. They had the Summer Olympics there. Love, Katie. This is the Mississippi River. From Memphis, Tennessee. Dear Granny, today we drove across the Mississippi River. It is wider than any river back home. It took us forever to get across the bridge. Love, Katie. Still more places to go. This is from Taos, New Mexico. Dear Granny, now we are in New Mexico. We visited a pueblo today. I got to help a woman make bread. Love, Katie. Look at that. You see that? She's making that in a stone oven. It's different than our ovens, huh? This is the Grand Canyon. This is from Grand Canyon, Arizona. Dear Granny, today we saw the Grand Canyon. It is really deep. There's a river down at the bottom. Love, Katie. And lastly, we have the Golden Gate Bridge. That's in San Francisco, California. Dear Granny, we just went across the Golden Gate Bridge. We could see the Pacific Ocean. We'll be at your house tomorrow. I can't wait to see you. Love, Katie. So Katie went on a long trip, and she went to many different places, and she wrote a postcard to her granny from each of those places. And we learned information from each of those places. We learned where the president lives. We learned that the Olympics were in Atlanta, Georgia. We learned a lot of information from postcards. I wonder if you've ever written a postcard. I usually write a postcard to somebody when I go on a trip. I haven't been on a trip in a long time. I used to write to my grandma when we would go on trips when I was a little girl. Maybe you guys could try writing a postcard to somebody. Make sure you draw a picture, and then on the back write a little note. Maybe mom or dad can help you address it. And then they all need a stamp. So we read the 3 stories this week, Someone Bigger, One of 3, and a cross-country trip. They were all about families. They were different genres, fiction, realistic fiction, and informational text. We learned a lot this week. Keep reading. Have a great day.